Hello, everybody. Welcome back to What the Film. I almost said popcorn premieres, so I had a little bit of hesitation there. And then
I was thinking popcorn premieres.
because we were talking about popcorn premieres. And we're back in the studio where we recorded that show for all of last semester. This is our first episode of What the Film in the studio. Kind of interesting. And also interesting that this is our 25th episode here. And it's going to be our first episode in this studio, our first episode with a guest.
Yes.
And it being the 25th episode, we have now officially tied the amount of episodes that we made for popcorn premieres in both semesters. So first semester where I had a guest on every week, and then second semester where it was just me and Ethan. That was the show that we did before this one.
In other words, the grind has been real.
The grind has been real, and it's going to keep grinding.
Hype.
Big hype.
So hype. I'm Ethan Kaufman, by the way. Hey, hi, hello.
Yes. Sorry about that. Did I even say that I'm Logan Thompson?
I don't know.
I don't
Logan
think
Thompson.
Yeah, I am. Hi.
Hello. He's Logan Thompson.
Yes. So today we're going to be talking about Beetlejuice and the front room. And we're also going to be talking about some summer films, just kind of reflecting on this past summer in film and kind of what we thought about it, what if we think that this was a good summer or kind of a disappointment, and comparing it to 2023 and looking forward to next summer and the rest of this year. But before all of that, we want to talk about the awards from both Venice and Telluride. Venice had some surprise awards. I think most people expected The Brutalist to easily win the Gold Lion.
Yep.
It did not do that. Instead, the Gold Lion went to The Room Next Door. And that's kind of interesting because if you look at the previous Gold Lion winners, like most of them are movies that are Best Picture nominees, at least since 2017.
Yeah.
2017, Shape of Water, 2018, Roma, 2019, Joker, 2020, Nomadland, a movie called Happening won in 2021, so I think, and then All the Beauty and the Bloodshed won in 2022, but that's a documentary. But then 2023 was Poor Things.
Yeah.
So
all narrative films were either Best Picture winners or like very strong Best Picture nominees.
Yeah, except Happening,
Yeah.
which was
a weird
an
year,
international film. Yeah, and that was like coming right off of COVID.
Yeah.
So I would say that not counting that year as hard. But yeah, so just all in all, a very interesting thing that happened with The Room Next Door after reviews being counted out, because the reviews were pretty dour, but now it's won the Gold Lion. So I think it's just like, what do you do with this movie?
I mean, you have to consider it a little more now, but at least for me, knowing really nothing about a lot of these yet, I feel like I still wouldn't put it in my 10.
That's what I'm struggling with.
We'll see how the narrative changes now that it has won this.
Mm-hmm.
But like, it wasn't. I know there was talk months ago, like back before anything had premiered at a festival, when we didn't know what anything was yet. People were considering it. It kind of fell out of it, but now maybe gets thrown back into the mix.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking too, where initially people threw it out, but now it gets thrown back into the mix in like a 10 spot or something like that.
I mean, it has a 3.5 on Letterboxd.
Yeah.
So like,
but Letterboxd isn't always the best gauge. I mean, look at Belfast.
Right.
Yeah. So
I just feel like for more like critical acclaim indie type stuff where it's like less overtly Oscar bait, it maybe does play a bit of a factor.
Fair, but this is a little bit of Oscar bait, given that it is Almodovar's first English film. We haven't seen it. We don't know if it's Oscar baity or not, but it could be.
We'll see.
I guess we will see. Aside from that, the Brady Corbett still won Best Director at Venice for The Brutalist. So The Brutalist still getting recognized, still definitely not ruling The Brutalist out.
Also A24.
Yeah, also A24.
Crazy that they're just like picking up one after the other.
Yeah,
these festival movies.
What I think is very interesting now is that A24 picked this up when this is the movie that a lot of people saw as killing Sing Sing.
Right.
So what is A24 going to do? Are they going to release this movie this year, or are they going to hold on to this movie for next year as to have Sing Sing and then The Brutalist in back-to-back years be big players for them?
I would be shocked if they held The Brutalist for that long.
Me too.
I feel like just how much momentum it's had just from being at Venice, I feel like that would totally stifle any sort of chances it has. I'm curious though, because like last week we talked about Sing Sing kind of not fully falling out of it, but no longer really being this front runner that it had been. And I'm curious if A24 like has kind of gotten that sense too, and are maybe trying to replace it with something else.
That's kind of what I'm thinking too, and also I'd figure that they've now learned from Sing Sing that it's not a good strategy to get a movie that premieres at like the fall festivals and hold on to it for that long to start an Oscar campaign. That that's very hard to pull off for a small indie type of movie like Sing Sing, in that you need to get that momentum and run it right into theaters as soon as you can.
Right. And like between Everything Everywhere and then Past Lives, like they have both succeeded and then I wouldn't say failed fully, but like not as succeeded for like having really what looked like a big Oscar movie releasing in the first half of the year, kind of, sort of. And like it because like Past Lives did go on to get 2 nominations, including Best Picture, but like they want more than that. Sing Sing deserves more than that. Yeah. And if it's not going to happen, I do think they're the kind of studio that like they're not going to take that. They're going to find another great movie and put that out and then try and almost take its spot if they have to.
Yeah, especially because like this year, A24's Oscar chances felt very odd. Yeah. In the sense that you had a studio like Neon that feels miles ahead of A24.
At least this year.
Yeah, in the sense of Anora and Seed of the Sacred Fig both being probably Best Picture nominees, I'd guess, for both of them.
Seed of the Sacred Fig has kind of fallen out of it, I feel like, a little bit.
I feel like it has, but then you got to remember that there's always that international film, and Seed of the Sacred Fig will probably fill that spot, I feel like, unless they consider Emilia Perez that international film. But given that Emilia Perez is a lot of American stars, I don't know if that would count.
It's also, though, like, that the international slot isn't, like, really a thing. We've just kind of decided it's a thing because it's happened so frequently. Like, trends are broken.
Trends are broken. You're right. And this could be the year that it's broken. But Seed of the Sacred Fig has still been, like, a notable film at the fall festivals. I could still see it, you know, gaining momentum. And really, like, Germany did pick it up as their international nominee. So I could see it gaining steam. But I guess we'll find out. It very well might not, and I could be completely wrong about Seed of the Sacred Fig. But
I'm on Gold Derby right now, like looking at the top 10, and I think like it's a very strong top 10, but there are, if Gladiator 2 doesn't make it, if A Complete Unknown doesn't hit with people, Joker has kind of fallen out of it already a little bit just based on those reviews.
Yeah, it really feels like Joker's fallen out.
Like there are a couple spots now getting taken up by new contenders, but then old contenders are falling out of it a little, opening up even
also
more. Also,
Queer's falling out.
Queer's also
that's another one that a lot of people thought was
Queer's
top 10.
ranked number 22 now.
Yeah.
And it was like, what was it, like 7 or 8?
Yeah, it was a consensus top 10. I think I had it as number 5 for me personally at one point. And now Challengers is higher than Queer, I think. I think some people have Challengers in the top 10.
I wouldn't put either of them in at this point, which sucks.
I wouldn't, but like imagine how cool it would be if Challengers did.
That would be so awesome. Make it happen, Academy, please.
Yeah, please make it happen. I'd love to see Challengers at the Oscars. That'd be awesome. But
Blitz is still top 5. That feels wrong.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see after it premieres at the London Film Festival. I just feel like because of so many films disappointing, Blitz has kind of just managed to stay where it is. And then you have
anything bad about it.
Exactly, because you have other movies that even were good, like Conclave that premiered, but it was like good but not great.
Yeah.
You know, where it's like a top 10 movie but not a movie that you'll put close to the top 5 because it's probably not going to win anything.
Right.
Something else I wanted to mention out of Venice, Nicole Kidman won for Baby Girl. I've heard people just say really good things about her performance, and maybe she could like slide into Best Actress contention. Probably not.
Gold Derby has her at 7 right now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Good for Gold
Derby.
But
there's 2 Saoirse Ronan performances above her.
Yeah.
I feel like that's not going to happen.
Well, the thing is, though, is that Gold Derby, I guess, hasn't updated where one of those Saoirse Ronan performances should be a supporting actress performance. Yeah. It seems like Blitz, Saoirse Ronan is very much a supporting actress there, so it seems like she'll get pushed there. Also, I don't know, is Lady Gaga still there?
Lady Gaga has completely fallen out of where is she?
I think she should be in supporting now.
She is in supporting now. 12.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, Lady Gaga, I've heard, is in supporting now.
Okay.
And the other thing I wanted to say is that I think Joker 2 not being nearly as good as people thought it was going to be is going to really benefit Dune.
I totally agree.
Because not only were they the two big, like, blockbuster Oscar contenders, but they both came from Warner.
Yeah.
So now, like, now Warner knows that Dune is
gets
the
a
one.
bigger push now.
And they will go full throttle on Dune.
They should.
Yeah, they should. But now especially. So I could honestly see some, like, supporting performances from Dune creeping up into contention. I don't know if Gold Derby has that right now. I'm not looking at Gold Derby. But I'm thinking Javier Bardem could, like, sneak in there. Or Rebecca Ferguson could sneak in there.
The highest ranked supporting actor is Javier Bardem at 18.
I feel like he should be a lot higher than that.
Yeah, and then highest ranked actress is Rebecca Ferguson at 23. With Zendaya
Also
right
should be
below.
higher than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think
Kaylee Spaney in Civil War is higher than that.
that's insane.
Sienna Miller in Horizon Chapter 1 is higher than
That's
that.
also insane. Yeah, those are both criminal. I think Bardem and Rebecca Ferguson, I don't say are going to get in, but I think will genuinely
More part
be
of the
contenders.
conversation.
Yeah, because now that, like, Lady Gaga and Joaquin Phoenix are out of the conversation, I think now you shift to Bardem and Ferguson being in it.
Yeah.
I would also, like, I would have said Chalamet, but because Chalamet has a complete unknown.
Yeah, I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chalamet Complete Unknown is at 3, and then in Dune is at 20.
Yeah, like I think it's gonna stay like that because it's just like that Chalamet is gonna get in for a complete unknown. I think Warner knows that too. So if I was Warner, I would push their more veteran actors who have just really solid supporting performances for the Oscars. I also wanted to mention the Telluride medallions. These are not, like, official awards for, like, the films themselves, but more for like the careers. But Telluride medallions have seemed to, like, have connections with the Oscars. You saw in 2023, Yorgos Lanthimos got a medallion. In 2022, Kate Blanchett and Sarah Polley got medallions. 2021, Riz Ahmed and Jane Campion. And then 2020, Chloe Zhao and Anthony Hopkins both got medallions. And all of them were big Oscar contenders or winners for their years. So I think Jacques Audiard, for me, is really exciting. As somebody who has seen Emilia Perez, Jacques Audiard has been somebody who I think totally deserves a Best Director nomination at the Oscars. And
Hype.
I think that seeing him get that from Telluride is very promising. Also, Saoirse Ronan from The Outrun. Just like...
I've heard good things.
I've heard good things too. Some people worrying that it's not an Oscar-y type of movie, but the Telluride medallion is a good sign.
Yeah.
All right. What do you think of Beetlejuice?
I really enjoyed it. I had some issues with it because it takes a while to get going. Like, I lost track of, like, how much of the movie before stuff actually really ramps up plot-wise. But, like, I was still in from the beginning, partially because, like, me and a friend who I went to see it with, we'd been hyping it up for months.
Oh, really?
And so it, like, in my head, it was just this big event, even if it wasn't for a lot of other people, even if it wasn't necessarily good enough to justify that. But just, like, as a theater experience, it was fun. We had, like, a good crowd at Cinemapolis. They were into it.
Yeah. I think it's a really good theater experience.
Agreed, yeah. And so I don't put the first Beetlejuice on any sort of pedestal, but I do, like, really enjoy it. Like, it is a movie that I come back to maybe once every couple years. And I think as a legacy sequel, it does some fun things. In particular, how can we get into spoilers? Yeah, no?
Let's
You
not
wanna
get
hold
into
off.
spoilers
Okay.
yet. Let's get into them soon, but not yet.
Okay. So I'll just then say this. Jeffrey Jones, who plays Charles Dietz in the original, was obviously not going to come back for this one because of lots of controversy surrounding him and a particular thing that had happened. And that, just knowing that going in was fun, seeing what they did with that and how that played into the plot, like how they kind of write him out of the movie was really entertaining.
It was, I agree.
Yeah. Obviously Michael Keaton is, like, still great as title character, is not in it for, like, too long, doesn't overstay his welcome, which was a big reason of why he works so well in the first, is like he's not the main character. He's this kind of entertaining supporting role, and he is that again. He's kind of don't really know how to say it, but like he's sort of a plot device to push other characters forward.
Yeah.
But like he's still really funny, he's still great. And a lot of the new cast I thought was really fun. I'm someone who loves The Leftovers, so like having Justin Theroux in there as kind of like this twerpy like stepdad type character was really silly. Just seeing him play against type. Willem Dafoe, obviously, I thought was hilarious. And I feel like maybe a little. I don't want to say more because she has a lot to do. The handling of Jenna Ortega's character, I think it's less about her performance and more just like there are 3 or 4 different subplots going on at once, and it can get a little caught up in that. Like I know Monica Bellucci's character, who's like in it at the beginning and then kind of in it at the end. It doesn't have much to do in the middle.
Oh, I very much addressed that when I wrote my review for this. I was like, that was just kind of criminal.
Yeah.
Like they formed her character to be like this big antagonist, which we didn't really get in the first Beetlejuice, so I was kind of excited.
Like and
then she doesn't show up.
Yeah, like there's such a presence and then there's so not a presence.
Yeah. And it was that one scene at the start was awesome.
Right,
It was probably the
that.
best scene of like the first 30 minutes.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked her, and so it's kind of upsetting that we didn't get more of that. I think it had a lot of things that it wanted to do.
Yeah.
That's
Too
obviously
much
going to
that it wanted
happen
to
when
do.
you're a sequel to a movie that came out in 1988, where it's like it's been so long, you probably like, and Tim Burton always has big ideas.
Yeah.
Not always the best ideas, but always something.
Yep.
And so I think it got way too caught up in just wanting to juggle a lot. But in the second half, when I would say really the plot gets going, a lot of those subplots start meshing together a little bit. A lot of characters have more to do, and it goes more kind of off the walls in that fun Beetlejuice way. It totally hits, and I had a great time with it.
I agree.
I just think there is so much going on. It's hard not to say it's a mess. But it was a fun mess. Like even when it wasn't great, I was still enjoying myself. I think Winona Ryder is like clearly having some fun with this character who she hasn't come back to in a long time.
Yeah, Kathryn O'Hara had so much fun.
Yeah, just kind of everybody. It seems like they had fun making it, even if it wasn't the best possible version of what it could have been. The ending was something. I guess we're not going to spoil it, but the ending was a thing that happened.
The ending was a thing that happened.
Yeah. No, I had a blast with this, even like despite all my issues.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I also had a lot of fun with this. I'll give my star rating solid 3.5.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I went
wasn't
for.
it a 3
What
for
do you mean?
I feel like I remember seeing it as a 3 for you.
I haven't. I didn't put down a letterbox to rating yet.
Okay.
Or I think I did eventually update it
Maybe
to 3.5.
it was Brendan that had the 3.
Yeah, I think Brendan had a 3. So yeah, I give it a 3.5. I think it's just the first hour is pretty disappointing. I was I'm not going to say thoroughly disappointed, but I was relatively disappointed after the first hour of this film. I was just like, is this really where we're going? I didn't really have a lot of faith. I felt like there were fun moments. There was that couple therapy scene, which was just awesome.
Yeah, that was
such
great.
a great scene. But a lot of this was kind of convoluted. A lot of characters who were being underused. Fun characters. I liked Monica Bellucci. I liked Willem Dafoe. But it was too many characters and not enough of them because it's a film that wants to have a relatively short runtime that's trying to do a lot. So a lot of characters feel like they're wasting time from the actual like plot lines that seem important. Like the Jenna Ortega plot line, because of how much we got of it, seemed like it was the important plot line. So then you got like Willem Dafoe, Monica Bellucci kind of taking away from that sometimes. And I was like, even though I liked the Willem Dafoe, Monica Bellucci plot lines more because I thought that they were more fun, it seemed like they were leaning into the Jenna Ortega one more. So I was like, all right, then you need to cut Willem Dafoe or Monica Bellucci and give us more Jenna Ortega.
And you can't cut them.
But
They're so fun.
You kind of had to.
I know, and I also like
which sucks.
The Jenna Ortega plotline I think was interesting because like it ties into all the others more than any other plotline.
Exactly.
But it as a subplot itself, there wasn't a lot there.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
felt like they could have given it more if they took from less. Or sorry, if they took from other things that weren't as important
Yeah.
and gave more time to the Jenna Ortega plotline, they probably could have come up with more to do.
Yeah.
Given just like how creative this film is,
Right.
you know, just use that creativity on the Jenna Ortega plotline that adds to all the other plot lines rather than plot lines like the Bellucci and Defoe ones that don't really add to the other plot lines.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is unfortunate because I found those like smaller ones to be more fun. But at the end of the day, I think you got to contribute to the story more than just to the vibes.
Yeah.
Because a movie like this that contributes very hard to the vibes, for me at least, is not going above like a 3.5.
Okay.
Where like I think Beetlejuice, the first Beetlejuice, is able to contribute both to the story and to the vibes.
Right. That's one of
And
the
that's why
things
it's a
I
5-star
really
for me.
love about the first one is it kind of sits in the world it creates for
Yeah,
much
exactly.
longer than you'd expect. And it's really interesting. And this one also does that a little, but because we already know what the world is, there's less novelty to be found.
Yeah.
And so it kind of does have to do more with its plot, and because of that, it does way too much with its plot.
Exactly.
And kind of gets lost in the sauce a little. I also gave it a 3.5. Feel like it's going to stick there.
Yeah.
Like again, like you said, that first hour wasn't great. I enjoyed it when I was watching it, but I was kind of thinking in the back of my head, like, if this is all this is, I'm enjoying it now. I'm not going to love it when I think back on it. And I'm happy that it's like more backloaded than front-loaded.
Exactly.
Because it left a better taste in my mouth than
'cause-
it otherwise would have.
Because like when everything finally came together, it was really great. Like I did feel a little like we felt after we watched Blink twice, where it was
Yeah.
like, yeah, you had this really convoluted like first bit of the film that wasn't too great, but it did overall contribute to the ending, even though I would say that in the ending, the underutilized portions were still underutilized. They did all come together and it was very fun, even though there were a couple of anticlimactic moments that felt like they were solved a little too easily. It was just fun. It was Beetlejuice goodness and just spectacle, and I had a great time with it. I would happily rewatch this movie, but sadly don't think I'm going to have the time to rewatch it because I have to watch other stuff that I haven't seen yet.
Yeah, I might hold off on rewatching it just because, like, I feel like a lot of the reason I had so much fun was just the shock of whatever was going on seeing it for the first time. And I think those problems are going to bug me more if I watch it again, so I might hold off just to scare myself from, like, it dropping in my mind.
I would happily rewatch it just to see Michael Keaton again. He's
Okay.
so good.
I might, like, go back
as
and rewatch a
Beetlejuice.
couple scenes, like, once it's out.
No, I would too. Like
Yeah.
literally just I'm sure there'll be something on YouTube of the just Beetlejuice scenes in Beetlejuice Beetlejuice, and I would watch that. I also appreciated that we got more time with Beetlejuice in this film. I remember kind of something that the first Beetlejuice is infamous for is that Keaton only got 17 minutes of screen time. He gets more than 17
He gets a
minutes
little
here.
bit more, yeah.
Not like significantly more, but I think he got maybe like 25, I'd guess.
Yeah,
to like half an
I'm
hour.
gonna look this up to see if there's an answer.
Yeah, I don't know if there's an answer yet, but if there is, let me know. So yeah, I'd guess that he got more screen time in this film. It felt like he had more to do, even though he was just kind of still Beetlejuice the whole time. There weren't like more complexities to his character.
I can't find it, but it looks as though it's like very similar to the first one. Like if not 17 minutes, like maybe a few minutes more.
That's why I was saying like 25.
Yeah,
I feel like
25 is like even more. Than
really,
it is. Yeah.
I feel like there was a bit more than that. I guess maybe I could be wrong, but it felt like we got more of him because like we got a lot of him without any of the characters.
Yeah.
Because like
Especially in the first half, like,
exactly
there's a bunch of just like him chilling out.
That's why I feel like we got more of him because once we got to the second half, it felt like how he did in the first Beetlejuice. But the thing is that in the first Beetlejuice, he doesn't show up until the second half.
Right.
But in this movie, he does show up in a couple of scenes with Defoe and Bob.
Yeah.
Loved Bob, by the way.
Bob's so great.
Loved Bob. Awesome character.
Top 10 like characters of ever, probably.
Seriously.
Definitely.
I mean, definitely the best Bob of the year.
For sure.
Shot at
Who were
Despicable Me.
Okay. There's,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Minion.
Yeah.
Damn. Are there any other Bobs this year?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Pretty much just taking a shot at Despicable Me.
Gotcha.
Also, you not calling this event in an event movie, I feel like it's kind of wrong.
No, it is.
Oh, like, okay, so you do think it's an event movie.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought
I
before
just,
you were
I
calling
just think
it
it's
not
like
an
a
event.
different kind of event movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it has the third highest opening of the year.
Yeah.
By far.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really
Digits
close
in
to
the millions.
Inside Out or Deadpool and Wolverine, but it is very significantly higher than
Yeah.
like Dune Part 2, Twisters, Godzilla.
I don't think it's not an event film. I just think it's like that rare one that has such a different target audience than all the other event films.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, but I appreciate that. I think that this was nice. And I think it was a great start to what I'm feeling is going to be a better
End of the year.
I think that we're going to have a very backloaded end of the year in terms of
agree.
film. And I'm very excited for that. But with that all being said, I think we are going to transition over to our segment with Matteo where we reflect on the summer.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thank you. Oh, wait, actually, never mind. I
never
forgot
mind.
about something.
Oh,
the front
that's right.
room.
Yes, that.
Yeah, I forgot about it because it's forgettable.
Yeah, couldn't
it's
be
not,
me.
Yeah, it's not good. Not a good movie.
I didn't see it
Yeah.
because I
But
don't care.
you do have it on your auction.
I do. I don't like that I do.
And didn't you put it pretty high?
4.
Okay.
I did. Because I looked at what the average projections were, what the estimated actuals were, and then saw like if I placed it lower on my 6, would it affect anything? It really wouldn't.
Okay.
So yeah, but still not great.
Yeah.
I'm in a very rough spot for the beginning of the month.
Yeah, I was expecting the front room to be like just kind of a cult film and actually be good. Like the trailer looked good.
Yeah.
Brothers of Robert Eggers directing this
Yeah.
film.
Half brothers, right?
Half brothers?
I think. They're not brothers, but they are in some way
Okay,
like closely
relatives.
Relative.
We'll just say relatives.
Same last name.
Yeah, same last name in like related via blood.
And through A24 horror.
And through A24 horror. Too bad the front room isn't even half as good as any Robert Eggers movie.
I mean, it's hard to be half as good as any other Robert Eggers movie, but like,
yeah, but
I don't know.
It is what it
Made
is.
$1.7 million.
1.7?
Yeah.
That seems high.
Really?
I thought it only made like $1 million.
No.
Okay. I feel like it made less. Okay. Anywho, also want to just address this coming weekend. You could see it actually tonight if you wanted to as you're listening to this episode. If you're listening to it on Thursday, Speak No Evil.
That.
You could also see The Killer's Game.
That.
James McAvoy and Dave Bautista are taking over your local multiplex.
I love it when the Jameses and the Daves of the Hollywood machine come out to play.
Yeah.
It's very exciting.
It
very
is exciting.
times.
I mean, I'm excited for Speak No Evil.
I don't know if I'm excited for it because like what I've heard about it I don't love, and I haven't seen the original.
Me too.
And I kind of don't like the fact that I am gonna wind up watching this before that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because I've seen the trailer now for like months.
Mm-hmm.
It's been which is fun because I feel like it's not gonna make a ton of money, but I've seen the trailer everywhere.
I feel like this could be a horror movie that does cross the 10 million border because that seems like the horror movie border that a lot of films have been struggling with this year, especially in like the first third of the year where 10 million was just a really hard number for horror to cross. I think this could do it.
Hopefully. I think like I'm in for a good James McAvoy performance.
Me
that
too.
seems to be what we're going to get.
Yeah.
So
Shirtless James
also,
McAvoy.
he based his character on Andrew Tate. That's beautiful.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
But that's awesome.
Yeah.
I kind of see it now that I'm thinking of the trailers.
Yeah.
I love that. And then The Killer's Game just looks like a fun Dave Bautista action movie.
The concept is hilarious.
Of The Killer's Game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I've only seen the trailer once, but it's really funny.
It sticks with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to see it,
Me neither.
but
yeah.
I would if I had time.
Fair.
All right, so now we are back, joined by Matteo D'Annello, our first one-off guest ever, pretty much. So, yeah.
It's an honor to be here.
Welcome to the evil lair.
Yeah. So, Matteo, you saw a lot of movies.
I did.
During the summer. Which
like
is
usual.
Yeah.
I think I told you this over text, but this is the first time ever that I think I saw every major release in theaters.
Really?
For over the summer.
Yeah.
But usually,
That's
like,
awesome.
every summer, there's always, like, 2 to, like, 4 that I miss.
Yeah.
Like, last year, there's always one where I'm like, I can't
Mm-hmm.
make like Transformers last summer. I'm like, I can't see that. I'm like,
Yeah.
I just don't care.
That's fair.
But this summer, I saw everything. I don't know. But I do have my thoughts.
All right.
I don't think it was the best summer.
Yeah, so I think maybe before we
Is that
get
where we start?
into so we have a superlative section that we're gonna get into, but maybe first let's just talk about the summer as a whole, because like, why would you say that it's not a success?
There, just in my opinion, there was not a real standout. Like one, like
Yeah.
last summer, I always go by one that I saw maybe more than twice, or one that like really changed my like. I'm like, oh, like Barbie last summer. I saw that 4 times in the theater because I'm like, I just need to see this in a theater. Like I need
Yeah.
that energy, that like, you know, just everything. Like seeing that with so many people.
Mm-hmm.
And then the summer before, it was like Nope and Top Gun.
Mm-hmm.
Those were like life changing, and I'm like, and that was right
Seriously.
before I came to Ithaca. So I was like, when I saw Nope, I'm like, this shit's like incredible.
Yeah.
But this summer, like, I loved The Fall Guy. I
That's
thought like
good.
Trap was fun.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some other ones, but like there was no movie personally to me that was like life changing. But obviously that's all subjective.
Yeah, I mean, I to me, the one movie that really stood out was Furiosa,
Mm-hmm.
but I also got the advantage of seeing one of like the premiere screenings of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a bit of a
All the way
biased
from the
perspective
side,
on
right?
that. No, I
No.
saw it in the direct middle.
Ooh.
Like the
okay.
direct middle of the upper, like of the, what's like the balcony called?
The balcony.
Of just like
Orchestra,
the
is it the
balcony.
orchestra?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Like the direct middle, but like up on the orchestra.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Like I was essentially in the center of the screen.
How big were the screens at Cannes? Because I saw something. Okay, they're huge.
Yeah. Why? What'd
Okay.
you see?
I don't know if this is true or not, but like Carson Runquist,
Yes.
Mhm.
it was just like looked like a little tiny TV.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I'm
the
like,
press
this
screens.
is okay.
Yeah, the press screens are like that. I saw a screening of Seed of the Sacred Fig in there that didn't say that. Usually when there's not
This was the one like,
English
with no
subtitles,
Yeah.
they tell you. They didn't tell us that there were no English subtitles.
Okay.
So there were a bunch of us Americans in a press screening room watching Seed of the Sacred Fig on the last day, all super excited because the energy for that film was like up to like the max.
Yeah.
And then there were no English subtitles, and we all like tried sitting through it and then gave up after like 20 minutes because we were like, it's a dialogue heavy film. We're not getting the dialogue.
Yeah.
Like we don't want to ruin this for ourselves for when we do watch it later. So a bunch of us walked out, and then all the French people were like getting mad that we were walking out. It was a very funny moment.
These Americans.
But yeah, the screen was minuscule.
Yeah.
But aside from that, like the Grand Lumiere, where it's like 2,500 people,
Mhm.
it's a pretty big screen, I would say. Yeah.
I would assume if it's 2,500 people.
Yeah, but fun times
Yeah.
seeing Furiosa in there. But aside from like that, to me this summer, like there really wasn't anything. Like Inside Out 2 I thought was fun, Alien Romulus was fun,
Hmm.
but like yeah, nothing that really stood out.
Yeah, it was a lot of like kind of like fine movies in my
Mhm.
opinion, but none that I'm like literally texting everyone like, go see this, go see
Yeah.
this, go see this.
I
Maybe
don't-
like Long Legs, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if comparing it to like Barbenheimer is fair because like that was Barbenheimer. Like
Yeah.
you're not gonna get that every year, but I think it provided last year something that felt really fresh and huge, like a cultural moment.
Mhm.
And I think like the closest thing we got to that this summer was either Inside Out 2, which was just a rehash of the cultural moment in 2015 when the first Inside Out came out, or like Deadpool and Wolverine. But even that feels like it could have been bigger for an MCU movie.
Yeah.
Like
It could have been.
It doesn't feel like it scratched like the No Way Home level of big like post Endgame
Yeah.
MCU. I don't know. If we're judging it off of like what we rewatched, last year I saw 6 movies over the summer in theaters more than once. This year
Mhm.
only 4. But this year there was nothing I saw more than twice. Last year I saw Spider-Verse like 5 times, Oppenheimer 4 times, Barbie 3 times.
Yeah.
So for me at least, there wasn't anything that hugely stood out.
Mm-hmm.
I also think it's because like last year, the standout movies of like pre-Oscar season were over the summer.
Yeah.
This year, I think it's Dune and Challengers, and those were both pre-summer. So I feel like we already had them a little bit.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. But Inside Out 2, I think, is up there for a lot of people.
For a lot,
and
not
I don't
for
want
me
to discredit that.
personally, though.
Yeah. Like, maybe not for us, but I would say...
Yeah.
Did you
That's
guys
probably...
love Inside Out 2, or what are your thoughts?
I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it.
That's where I am at, too. I think I love the first one.
Yeah.
I was a little frustrated with the second one, but I still think it's good.
Yeah.
It was good for what it was,
That's how I'm feeling, too.
Yeah.
I got it number 11 of 92 on my
I have it as
2024 list.
12 out of 32. So,
Oh,
yeah.
not as good.
I feel like this is going to be fun because it sounds like you guys have both seen so much more than me.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see. We'll see what you...
Don't, for the superlatives, like, don't take all of the movies that I've seen and leave me with nothing left.
So then how about you... Let's jump to a superlative
Okay.
then.
All
Movie
right.
of the summer.
Movie of the
You
summer.
can go first since you haven't seen as much.
Okay. Is this my movie of the summer or the movie of the summer? I feel like I want it to be the movie because my movie
that's
of
what
the
I'm
summer I'm
thinking.
going to get to later.
Yeah, I think it should be the movie of the summer.
Okay, this might be a hot take. Movie of the summer. Summer 2024. Twisters.
All right.
Okay.
I think on a box office level, it's obviously not number 1 or number 2, but like it is up there. It feels like it was a moment just with like Glenn Powell doing all of his Glenn Powell stuff. And I think kind of continues the trend from last year of just what audiences are most in the mood for.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like, yes, it's a rehash of old IP, but that old IP is not like superheroes characters. It's just like a sort of idea. And even though it's not an original, it feels much more like an original.
Yeah.
And like it's not a rehash because of anything specific, just like overall tone where it's like kind of harkening back to the 90s blockbusters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's like more of a reliance on movie stars, obviously, between Glenn Powell and Daisy Edgar-Jones. And I think overall is just more the shift that cinema, in quotes, has been taking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a good take.
It's the no like homework era.
You can
starting
just go to
begin.
the theater and have fun with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is pretty nice. I was a big fan of Twisters. I don't know if I'd call it the movie of the summer.
I feel like there's several.
Yeah.
I'm also just like, I don't want to take those two.
That's fair.
Yeah.
What do you think, Matteo, of Twisters?
I thought it was all right. This is another one where I'm like, I went in and I was really hyped. I'm like, this is it. And this is like the dumb big blockbuster movie of the year. And I kind of left and I was like, there was no moment that really stuck with me. And I don't know if in my head I'm just thinking like, oh, Glenn Powell, like Top Gun. I saw it in the same theater I saw Top Gun in. And maybe that was a little bit of unfair advantage, but I did see it a few days later at like a drive-in. And it was similar. I was like, it's good. But I wasn't like in love with it. Like I don't know, next time I'll rewatch it. But again, for a blockbuster like that, like I think it was like well made.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't pandering or anything. Like what I did like was, again, like this like no homework thing. It's like you could just watch that and enjoy it. You don't need to like watch the original, or there's no like 13 callbacks to like the first one, you know. But I like that.
Yeah,
movie,
that's
so.
fair. All right, so what would you take in your opinion, what was the movie of the summer?
Mine, I'm gonna go with the inaugural movie of the summer, which is The Fall Guy.
Okay.
All right.
I saw it the week after it came out, after all the talk of it's like a failure and, you know, it didn't do well.
Mm-hmm.
I know the trailers people were kind of mixed on, thinking like, oh, this looks like kind of stupid. But I saw it and I left, and that is probably the movie this summer that I texted like a bunch of people, like, go see this, like in a theater. Like, I thought it was so much fun. Ryan Gosling, like, I love when he's funny, and I love when he's having fun.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, in my opinion, a little more when he's doing more dramatic stuff. But he was great. I loved the chemistry between him and Emily Blunt. And there was like one time over the summer, like I thought they were married. I thought like, oh, that's the one Emily Blunt's married to. I'm like, oh no, that's John Krasinski. But because that's how good they were in the movie. Like I genuinely believed like they were together. The movie looked great. Like it was just so much fun. That last act, that whole like, I don't know, spoiler, but there's like a car chase type thing.
Yeah.
In the desert. Phenomenal. Great soundtrack. Yeah, I loved it. I have it on Blu-ray. It's great.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was really good. I wish I got to see it in theaters. I did not. I watched it on an iPad, but it was still a good time.
I really enjoy. I feel like it should have been the movie of the summer, and just like box office wise, it just didn't hit for some reason.
It's pretty disappointing. Like, I feel like this had a lot going for it.
Especially because like
it
it clearly is a movie more than a lot of these others that loves movies.
Mm-hmm.
But like in a fun way where it's not like an Oscar baity way, but like you just watch it and you're like, yeah, movies are cool.
Yeah, which is probably why it wasn't like the movie of the summer in terms of box office.
Yeah.
Because like, you know, people don't like to watch movies about movies.
Which is really depressing in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
It's my favorite subgenre of film.
Yeah, it's a great subgenre, but I guess that's why
your
it's for
movie of the
us.
summer?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go with the one that most people would go with. I'm gonna go with Inside Out 2.
Yeah.
I can't leave that on the board. I feel like this is already like one of my favorite movies of the summer, and that's not really saying that much because I don't think there were a lot of great movies of the summer, but like especially in terms of like the blockbusters of the summer, this is very up there for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think it was a good sequel. It obviously loves its predecessor. It doesn't, in my opinion, screw over its predecessor. Yeah. I think it just pays a lot of respect, and sequels sometimes have a hard time doing that. I think it was just a big cultural moment where a lot of people who like are our age kind of got to go back and, you know, just revisit their childhood really like literally. I mean, it was kind of a TikTok trend that I saw where people would be like, me watching Inside Out 2, me watching Inside Out, and like pictures of them like now versus then. And you know, it's an obvious trend that was going to happen, but it's nice that happened.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that a movie like this clicked, and I'm glad a movie like this got made, because Pixar has typically made pretty mediocre sequels, and I wouldn't call this a mediocre sequel.
It was a shocking box office for that movie. I was like, I know there was all the articles like, well, they like outsourced their studio to like other, and I was like really worried because like they're just such a special animation company that like just makes all of their stuff in house with these people, and I'm like, it would be really devastating if that doesn't happen. And even if like I didn't necessarily like love this new movie, like when that second weekend it only dropped like a third. Yeah, I was like, they're set for the next like 10-something years. Like,
and they have all the momentum now. And
like,
D23, their presentation was like, or their portion of the presentation was like the big one.
Yeah. Incredible.
Because of Inside Out 2. Oh, I'm so excited too.
Just want to put out there, Twisters is my least favorite movie of those three.
Oh,
yeah.
And you picked Twisters?
Yeah.
That's kind of funny. So I guess now that you bring up box office, what would you say is a box office surprise that we haven't mentioned yet, like a good or bad box office surprise for the summer?
I'm gonna say this is gonna be maybe not expected, but Borderlands being such a failure was kind of surprising. I don't even know if it's gonna crack 20 million.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Which is something. This happens sometimes where I'm like, in retrospect, I'm like, this had like no hype. I shouldn't be that surprised that it's not making money, but like, just with all the talent and like Cate Blanchett and Kevin Hart, and also it's based like people played the video game. It's not like some random obscure video game, but like, I guess it just speaks to how maligned that movie was.
Yeah.
I was one of 3 people that saw it at a 4 p.m. afternoon screening and didn't really like it that much. Yeah. But yeah, kind of surprising how it's going to lose over a lot of money for Lionsgate.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think I was one of 4 people in I think it was a 4 p.m. or no, I think 5 p.m. IMAX screening on opening day, like Thursday. And still just like one of 5 people in IMAX on like its first day. Just kind of nuts. I mean, this movie just wasn't a thing. Yeah, it's kind of weird because you'd think like video game movie with Cate Blanchett clicks with people, but no, because it disrespects the video game, it disrespects Cate Blanchett, it disrespects everybody.
Yeah.
For me, in terms
of
in terms of a box office surprise, I'm gonna go with It Ends With Us.
Okay.
I'm gonna guess that you were gonna go with like Lawn Legs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was about to say Lawn Legs, and I was like, okay, let's give Ethan that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm gonna go with It Ends With Us. I'm not the biggest fan of It Ends With Us. There's a lot of controversies about It Ends With Us for very good reasons. It's a little bit just insensitive, in my opinion. But my God, did it click with people. And I think it really just shows the power of, finding best-selling books and finding people that aren't necessarily a movie star, but are, like, in the pop culture moment right now. Blake Lively hasn't been in a lot of movies, especially as of late, but she's been in the pop culture moment thanks to Ryan Reynolds, thanks to Taylor Swift. And, that just kind of mix really was able to give her a big boost. I'm really curious now because you have somebody in a similar situation, Travis Kelce, who has a TV show coming out on FX, and I feel like that could be kind of big and have a similar effect to what's happening audience. With Blake Lively.
Yeah.
Just in the sense that Taylor Swift connection, Blake Lively connection, yada yada yada, football. Let's go watch the show. And I think something very similar happened to Blake Lively here with It Ends With Us. It also just shows this was a summer dominated by movies made for men. So when a movie finally came out where men was not the target demographic, people went to go and see it because movies didn't identify with them until It Ends With Us. And I think that just shows we need to make more movies for women and more movies for just all genders, really, that are more inclusive, because this was a summer where it was Twisters, Deadpool, Borderlands, yeah, Horizon, yeah, Fly Me to the Moon, just all movies that are very masculine. And this is a movie in touch with femininity, even though it is directed by a dude. So yeah, just make more movies that try to do that.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Long Legs.
Let's talk about Long Legs. Better movie. Actual good movie.
Yeah, I'm so happy this made so much money, and it's as I've thought about it more, I've liked it less. But when I was watching it, I was so in. And just seeing the way that they marketed this was genius and really set it on a nice track to be this box office surprise. Mm-hmm. It's Neon's highest grossing movie ever. It just the word of mouth, in the week or two before it came out and then the week or two after it did release, I think was so much bigger than what I would expect for an indie horror movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm grading this on how many people I follow on Instagram post on their stories that they were seeing it. And other than the big ones of Inside Out, Deadpool and Wolverine, this was the one maybe that everyone was just Long Legs movie night, and just a dorky picture of them in their theater with the flash on.
Yeah.
I hate those people, but good for them for going out and supporting it. And it was such a surprise seeing this when we did the episode right after that weekend. Just seeing how much it had made was crazy. And I think, again, it comes back to just people are in the mood for something new, even if it takes a lot of inspiration from something they're familiar with. Mm-hmm. I think that's why people gravitate towards the things that they do. And so, yeah, this, obviously, just box office speaking, there's a lot of big blockbusters, so it wasn't, one of the highest grossing movies of the summer or anything. But I think it was one of the biggest success stories to come out of the summer, and especially in a summer where it felt like more movies were flopping than taking off more than anticipated. I just wanted to kind of highlight that, especially because both of you guys were or not you so much, Logan, but just, I don't know. This also felt earlier in the summer a little bit.
Yeah, it was.
For a summer that wasn't overall, I don't think too great, it kicked things off decently. Mm-hmm. Where this was right before Inside Out. This was the peak of summer for me, I think.
Yeah.
Mentally.
Yeah.
In terms of where movies were at.
I think this summer, I think felt like it was on a pretty good track. May box office wise wasn't too great, but the quality was there. I felt at least in my opinion. Then June, I liked Bad Boys, I liked Inside Out, I liked Quiet Place, and then we got into July with Long Legs. But after that, things I feel started to dip. Yeah. And that was pretty unfortunate. But Long Legs was great. I agree. Too bad it won't be much of an awards contender
Was it ever
Nicolas
going to
Cage's
be?
great
Makeup?
performance. No,
Yeah.
maybe makeup actually. Yeah,
That'd be really cool.
that would be really
That would
cool.
be like a Godzilla -1 for visual effects type thing.
Yeah.
I just want to see
I could
that.
see it.
Yeah.
You never know. It was a big success, and I'm trying to segue into awards contenders because
Okay.
that's our next category.
Yeah. Can I say one last thing with the box office?
Oh
Yeah.
yes.
I will. I know there was a lot of like in May. It was like doom and gloom, like theaters will close forever and all that because like
We
Fall
get
Guy
like a
didn't do
month
well.
of that every year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I will say like after Bad Boys came out, like was there a single like big box office failure after that? I mean, I know like Horizons didn't do great, but like
I mean, not until August.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was a
Or
good.
actually, Fly Me to the Moon, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's like a streaming.
Yeah,
like
that's
asterisk.
like a small movie.
Yeah.
Not like any big, like not the tentpole movie.
Right.
Or no tentpole movies of the month
Yeah.
were failures until August.
So I thought that was good. Like
Yeah.
you know, kind of like saved it. So
You know, Bad Boys was an awesome Kickstarter.
fun movie.
Too bad that also is not an awards contender movie. You know what might be an awards contender this year?
What?
There's not a lot of options to pick from this summer.
There's not.
Yeah, and I'm gonna try to leave one of the more obvious ones.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Planet of the Apes
Okay. I see it.
for visual effects.
Yeah.
Pretty much that's the only one.
All right.
I think its visual effects, it has a smaller budget than Avatar The Way of Water, but its visual effects quality are on par.
Yeah.
Like, this is a stunning film. I'm so glad I got to see this in IMAX. Like, I literally saw it on Wednesday and then left for Cannes on Friday.
Gotcha.
So, like, I was able to just barely cram in seeing this movie. So glad I got to go and do it and, like, experience that. The effects, in my opinion, were just breathtaking. And really, the whole movie is kind of a visual effects showcase. There is a small story to it, but it's very just inconsequential, really, to, like, the overall film, which I just feel like is meant to highlight that Wes Ball knows what he's doing visually. And that's okay, because it looks stunning. And I think if Dune 2 could get upset in anything, I think Planet of the Apes would upset Dune 2
It's not gonna happen.
for visual effects. I don't think it's
very
happening.
Sorry, Logan. It's a pipe dream.
But, you know, at least I will address the possibility.
Okay.
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 That's my Oscar contender.
Swag. I'm just gonna take the big one on the board just because
Okay.
it's really the only one I think of the movies that I've seen that I would really consider here, and that's Sing Sing, obviously. Is an interesting year where like it feels, and we just obviously talked about this on our last segment. It feels very backloaded, more than usual, more than the last couple years. And I think Sing Sing is really the only movie to come out of the summer that I see being an awards contender, where like between picture, actor, supporting actor, screenplay, definitely, it's gonna check some of those boxes. And like we said, it's really gonna depend on how many, especially if A24 chooses to push The Brutalist instead of it. Maybe they do both, although I feel like that's a lot and wouldn't end well.
And they got Luca's new movie too.
Yeah.
They got a lot
Yeah.
this year, so.
So we'll see, but I think like out of everything that came out this summer, like I watched that for the first time and was like, yeah, I'd be cool with this winning Best Picture. And then I watched it again last week, 2 weeks ago, whenever, and was like, yeah, I still feel the same way. And I don't think there's really been anything since like spring that I felt that way about.
Yeah, like I think now it really the only two big Oscar contenders that we've gotten so far are like Dune and Sing Sing.
Yeah.
And now that, like, I don't know if you've heard, Matteo, but like things about Queer from Venice were not too positive.
Yeah.
So now Challengers, a lot of people are kind of throwing into the mix a bit more.
I feel like that's
so-
just jumping the gun a little bit.
I think it might be jumping the gun a little bit, but
Unfortunately.
as a lover of Challengers, I would not mind
as
that.
someone who has seen it 6 times, would not be pissed in the slightest. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like just because Queer doesn't perform the way everyone wants it to doesn't mean you can then slot Challengers in instead of it.
Is there a possibility? I was thinking about this since they've like acquired like Queer and The Brutalist. Like, was Sing Sing like not to bring obviously box office is really
Yeah.
stupid. Like I understand that, but sometimes like if these movies don't do that well and don't connect with a lot of people, like they won't get that Best Picture. Like say Queer does do really well, and The Brutalist obviously is just like claimed. Is there a possibility that Sing Sing, because it came out maybe too early versus like coming out in October, it doesn't get nominated for Best Picture but gets like a Best Actor.
I think there's a possibility. I think that Macklin and Domingo are pretty locked in
Yeah,
as
definitely
nominees.
Domingo.
So I wouldn't say don't see
I
a
don't
world
think-
where it's not a Best Picture nominee.
I do see a world.
Really?
I do. I
I feel like you can't say 2 acting categories are locks without.
because then all the other categories aren't locks. I would say like I think Greg Quidar not being a lock is a big red flag about Sing Sing.
But also, like, I'm just saying for nomination at this point, not win. Like, because there's 10 Best Picture nominees, there's 5 Best Director nominees. They're not all going to get in there.
I know, but like if The Brutalist really overtakes it, I feel like there's a possibility that like
Maybe.
Domingo and Macklin, or at least Domingo, are both people that like kind of get slotted to the 5th spot almost. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. I think we need to wait until some of these movies come out theatrically here
Yeah.
to really see where it goes.
Director's going to be tough, though, because I feel like it's a year where, like, more of the contenders are very directing heavy.
mhm. That's fair.
Also, what do you guys think about? Do you think Dune 2 is gonna win it?
No.
For director,
No,
For
for like Best
director, no.
Picture.
I don't think it'll win. Yeah, I don't think
No?
it'll win picture. It's hard. I'm leaning Anora right now.
Me
Okay.
too. Have I changed?
Have you changed?
I might
Anora?
have.
you,
I
have you
think
joined
A24 picking
the
up
dark
the
side
Brutalist may have changed
Interesting.
me.
to Anora?
Yeah.
I could also see the Brutalist, but I haven't seen the Brutalist. But as a seer of Anora, I think there's a chance. Yeah. All right, so Matteo, now that the really one big Oscar contender has
what are you
been
gonna
taken
pick
off the
here?
board, what are you gonna go with?
That was on my list, but I haven't seen it, so I'd feel a little like dishonest picking
okay.
it. But I do want to see it. It's just like it didn't play near me, sadly.
That's fair.
Can I pick Inside Out 2 again, or
I
just
think we're trying not to do
no?
that. Yeah.
Okay. Someone already did Twisters. I was gonna do Borderlands as like
That's a
a
joke.
Razzie
Oh.
nominee. Maybe like Alien for Best Visual Effects. I thought those were pretty good in the
Yeah?
movie. For a movie I didn't particularly care for. Besides the spoilers, reoccurring character that I don't think looked really great.
Mm-hmm.
That hasn't stopped the Academy from nominating stuff like that before. But yeah, I thought that looked pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that. I think the practical effects were really good. I mean, I could definitely see a world where they pick Romulus just to like give respect to like a very critically acclaimed type of franchise. And yeah, really the summer did not have a lot of awards contending options. So it's a decent one to go with, I'd say. Like given that there's not much to go on.
Yeah.
All right, Indie Darling.
Can I take this one?
You want to take it?
Guys, why does nobody talk about I Saw the TV Glow anymore? Like it came out. It had like a week or two where it was trending on Letterboxd and everyone was like, "Yeah, this is the best thing ever." And then it just like went cold.
It did.
I don't know. I saw this twice and I loved it both times. I think cuz We're All Going to the World's Fair didn't particularly resonate with me, I think. And many of the complaints about it I shared. It's just, it was very slow for me. There wasn't a lot going on. And here, I just like the concept for like kind of a horror adjacent, like coming of age kind of movie where it's like focused on the lore of this old TV show. I just thought was really interesting. It gets like very David Lynchy by the end. I thought it was really cool. I don't know. It flew under the radar, I feel like, after it came out. And, like, even on Letterboxd, it has a 3.6, which feels very low, at least to me. Yeah, the way it employs music is really cool. Jane Schoenbrun's direction is just, like, felt like very hypnotic. I keep thinking of, like, the scene in the planetarium when Bridget Lundy-Payne is, like, giving that whole monologue. And it's, like, her eyes are going, like, really wide. It's just cool. I don't know. I just love this. It's still in my top 5 of the year.
Yeah.
Which maybe means less because I haven't seen as much, but like it is still in there. And I just think it deserves more attention. Because we're getting closer to the end of the year. Obviously there's still a lot to see, but like it'll probably be in like my top, I don't know, 10, 15, somewhere in there.
That's valid. Yeah. I mean, I thought it was good. I just kind of like, I guess I could say I forgot about it.
I'm in the same camp. Yeah. That's a movie where I had to go like 40 minutes out of the way to see it because like I loved that trailer.
Yeah,
that
I went
they
40
had.
minutes out of the way too.
So good.
Where are y'all living?
Mid like middle of Massachusetts.
Middle of
Where we
Connecticut.
have,
Okay.
sadly, no indie theater, which that's why I love Ithaca, is we have Sinopolis. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan of it either. I don't know if I was just expecting something differently. Like I knew it was gonna be that like Lynchian like surrealist stuff. I really didn't care for the ending, which I thought was very anticlimactic. And yeah, I was a little confused, but I'm happy everyone loves it. I just am bummed I didn't like it as much, I guess.
That's fair.
So
Yeah, I feel pretty similarly, but I do want to see it again because I feel like
Yeah.
I'd like it
It's so
better
good
on a
a
second
rewatch.
watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so Matteo, what would you say is like your indie darling?
I'm happy no one took this yet, but I really did like Kinds of Kindness. And I'm not a Yorgos person per se, and kind of that Wes Anderson Yorgos camp, a very like heightened direction. Like, it's not particularly like my cup of tea,
Mm-hmm.
but it's another movie. Like, I loved the trailer. Like, I went in knowing like it was 3 different stories. This is one I was lucky to see on film at the Coolidge Corner Cinema in Boston. It was like an afternoon screening, and I don't know if there is like some of my love for this movie like is it heightened by that, like, oh, I got to see it in this like cool format, but I thought everyone was great. I thought it was really funny. It was really dark, and I kind of prefer Yorgos when he's in a more down to earth setting versus
Mhm.
like a Poor Things, which is like more fantasy sci-fi.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't know if this will be a huge awards